How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I will be joined here pretty soon by my DallasBasketball.com colleague and our Mavs Step Back correspondent, Grant Afseth, and we have a lot of good things to talk about. The Mavs defeated the Los Angeles Lakers, a hot Los Angeles Lakers team, on Tuesday night. It was the Mavs' second night of a back-to-back. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies 120 to 113 on Monday night. All these injuries piling up, Kyrie Irving out, Josh Green out, Grant Williams and Tim Hardaway Jr. missed time. Those two returned for Tuesday night's game against the Lakers and had big performances. Luka did his thing, and Dante Exum, a Mavs revelation, it just continues to he continues to light up Mavs Twitter with his performance. So a lot of great things to talk about. The Mavs are now 4-0 with Dante Exum starting. We'll go through all the stats and all the technical stuff, and I'll get Grant's take on what he witnessed tonight at American Airlines Center. But before we do that, I just want to tell you guys I appreciate the support. We are approaching 15,000 subs on YouTube. I've tried to stay more consistent with the YouTube stuff this year since I have, a more stable internet connection than what I've had in previous years. I kind of let the video stuff go, but you guys have been awesome. I truly appreciate it. If you don't mind going and hitting that subscribe button on YouTube, I would really appreciate that. Be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts to give yourself a chance to win future giveaways. We give away T-shirts. We'll do random jersey giveaways. Every now and then we'll do ticket giveaways. So be sure to do that and to put your social media at, wherever we can contact you, because every time we go to do a giveaway, we select randomly from the Apple Podcast review section. So it's an easy way to throw your name into the hat, and we keep track of, who wins a giveaway and everything. So it's not like somebody's going to win a giveaway multiple times in a row. You have a chance to win every single time without, somebody else previously winning it. So before we get into everything and before I, have Grant on here, I want to tell you guys about the Sleeper app. If you enjoy daily fantasy sports and if you think you know basketball, I would highly recommend you get the Sleeper app. And you can use our promo code STEPBACK, all capital letters, all one word, STEPBACK, and get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. The Sleeper app, super easy to use. I've used it several times already. The last time I came on here and actually did the ad segment was before that Portland Trailblazers game last Friday, I believe it was. Or no, it was Thursday. It was the day before the game. And surprisingly, I got all my picks right. I usually get at least one of them wrong, but I'm going to pat myself on the back there. Did a good job. Got all four right. And now I'm looking at tomorrow's slate. Obviously, the Mavs don't play. They're off until Thursday when they take on the West leading Minnesota Timberwolves. That'll be a fun game. But I'm looking at Wednesday's slate for my sleeper picks, and we've got the Philadelphia 76ers and the Detroit Pistons. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans and the Washington Wizards. Some news came out today that the Wizards are moving to Virginia. So that's some crazy news that kind of got buried by all the Mavs, Lakers, and other NBA action that happened on Tuesday night. But then we've got the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat tomorrow night. We've got the Atlanta Hawks versus the Toronto Raptors, the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Houston Rockets, and the Indiana Pacers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to start. I'm going to make 3 picks for tomorrow night's slate. We're going to start with the Pelicans and the Wizards. Let's start with Herb Jones. His assists plus rebounds are 7.5 for the over under. I'm going to take the over on that. I think I want to say Herb, but I'm pretty sure it's Herb. So Herb Jones over on 7.5 assists plus rebounds in the Pelicans Wizards game for tomorrow night, which is Wednesday night. Now we're going to move over to the Indiana Pacers Milwaukee Bucks game. Obviously, that's, anytime you have the Pacers involved, I like to take the over because they're the best offensive team in the league. They can light it up. This will be, the Pacers' first game since losing to the Lakers in the in-season tournament championship over the weekend. So I feel like they'll come out and play really well. The Bucks, they don't have a great defense. Damian Lillard, I don't think he's going to do anything to stop Halliburton. So Tyrese Halliburton's over-under for points is 27.5. I think that's an easy over, in my opinion. I think he will, definitely go over that. Damian Lillard, over-under on points, 26.5. Again, the Pacers don't play much defense either. So I would take the over for Lillard too. He's coming off a rough shooting performance, and I feel like, he's due to bounce back and get his points. So that's my 3 picks. Take the over for Herb Jones and the Pelicans versus the Wizards on Wednesday night. The over for him was 7.5 for rebounds plus assists. I'd take the over there. And then again, the Pacers versus the Bucks, I'm taking the over for 27.5 points for Tyrese Halliburton. I'm also taking the over of 26.5 points for Damian Lillard as well. All right, so all the house cleaning is out of the way, and I've got my guy Grant Afseth here with me. He was at American Airlines Center for the thrilling Mavs Lakers. It was 127-124. It seems like every time these teams get together, it's really fun. It turns out to be a nail biter. The last time the Mavs played the Lakers, they were up by as many as 20 points. The Lakers came all the way back, took the lead late. Kyrie Irving hit a 3, and the Mavs won. Dereck Lively got hurt in that one. So this one, it was much more high scoring, obviously. And Luka, he did his thing. Had let me pull up the box score here just so I'm not rattling off of memory here. But he had 33 points. He had 17 assists, and he had 6 rebounds. He also had a steal. Played great, 43 minutes on a second night of a back-to-back. Just MVP level stuff from Luka. Didn't necessarily shoot the ball great. He was 12 of 28 overall, 3 of 10 from 3. But, this is the kind of stuff you like to see from your MVP candidate. Second night of a back-to-back against a good team, a hot Lakers team that had won, I believe, 9 of its last 11 games coming into this one. And to get that win after winning the night before in Memphis, that's pretty good stuff. The Mavs are now 15-8. That's the best start in the Jason Kidd era. They weren't 7 games over 500 all of last season, so they've already started out really well this year, and they're third in the West, and it looks like something that's sustainable because all of the injuries piling up hasn't affected this team so far. They've won 4 in a row. And what is out of everything you saw tonight, what is your biggest takeaway? I mean, we'll go into a lot of things here, but what's your biggest takeaway from the Mavs win over the Lakers tonight?
Yeah, I think it was overall just the way the team managed to handle countering double teams, even without Kyrie Irving available. Because, if you think back to like just the big picture stuff, a lot of this team's construction, the idea was that, because they have Kyrie, they're going to be better equipped to handle defenses that are going to be really aggressive, that are like trying to, really get the ball out of Luka's hands. And, last year's roster didn't have the same type of pieces like Dante Exum, Tim Hardaway Jr. And then, he was on the team last year, but he wasn't playing at this level as he is this year. And then Grant Williams, a new addition as well. I think they, as well as other players too, but they really made the defense pay on the weak side often. And, they made, I think, 20 or more threes in this game overall. Forgot the exact number, but they were shooting very well from 3. They got into the paint when needed, and not having Kyrie to be another like key element to that overall mix was very encouraging, especially when you've seen it like 2 nights in a row. Like the Grizzlies were very aggressive in their approaches as well too, to get the ball out of Luka's hands and just make it hard on him, with blitzing, double teams, and all kinds of like loading up the paint. And Lakers did more of the same tonight, and just seeing more and more of those defenses, the Mavericks are going to be better for it. And it doesn't hurt that they've already won 4 straight games with 3 of their last opponents being really aggressive with similar styles.
Yeah. And I mean, look, the Lakers, you got to give them credit at, when they made their comeback, because the Mavs were up by 11 at halftime. They pushed that to 15 early in the third quarter. And then the Lakers went on a run, and they led by, I believe it was 4 or 6 points early in the fourth. They came all the way back. They led in the fourth, and then the Mavs turned it on. So at that point, you're thinking, okay, second night of a back-to-back. They had a great effort for 3 quarters. Maybe this is where, they run out of steam and this is it. But it's not what happened. They continued to apply the pressure, put their foot on the gas, and they brought it home. And, I mentioned this, I just tweet stuff out during games as I see it. But, I noticed that the Lakers, they did a very good job taking away Lively as a lob threat for most of the game. And, even toward the end of the game, Luka finally got one. he got Lively on 2 of them, actually. 2 really nice lobs there in that fourth quarter, and he finished with 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. So Lively in 30 minutes, he had 4 fouls, but, he still continues to make a great impact for the Mavs. And, losing Kyrie hurts, obviously. They were without Tim Hardaway Jr., Grant Williams, Josh Green, and they lost Derrick Jones Jr. in Memphis in that first quarter in Memphis. So, coming back tonight, it helped to get Tim Hardaway Jr. and Grant Williams back for sure, but they were still pretty undermanned. And, Tim Hardaway Jr., you mentioned it. He was great. 6th man of the year front runner, in my opinion, for this season. He has accepted that role. He is, he's acknowledged that guys who have accepted this 6-man role and taken it seriously in the past for the Mavs have done really well. He's mentioned Jason Terry. I think he's doing as good as anybody could have expected this season. 32 points in 37 minutes off the bench, hit 5 of his 10 threes. Every time the Mavs needed a big bucket, especially early in the game, he was there to hit it. And we can't say enough nice things about Dante Exum either. Taking 2 years off, basically playing overseas. You're a former top 5 pick in 2015. Everybody considers you a bust because you didn't live up to the expectation. And a lot of that's not really on him talent-wise. It was just the injuries and everything. So, to go overseas, to work on his shot, to really just accept a smaller role coming back and not having as much pressure on you. You're playing alongside Luka and Kyrie and all these other guys, and you're really not expected to do much, after you've already played 6 years in the NBA. You've taken 2 years off, and now you've come back and you're on a veteran minimum deal. So the pressure's low, and he has just blown it completely out of the water. Before the season, I remember in Vegas, Mark Cuban made the comment. He went on a Sirius XM radio interview and said that Richaun Holmes was the steal of the offseason. Well, the Mavs got the steal of the offseason. It wasn't Richaun Holmes. It was Dante Exum. He has been incredible on both ends of the floor. And the offense being as good as it is just a cherry on top. He finished with 26 points, 8 of 10 overall, career high, 7 3-pointers made. He was 7 of 9 from 3. Also had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block in 36 minutes as a starter. The Mavs are 4-0 with Dante Exum starting now. And just to give some context to our people listening and watching here, Grant, Dante Exum hit 8 threes before this Lakers game. For the entire season, he hit 8 3-pointers, and he hit 7 alone in this game. just crazy stuff. And, they asked him about it after the game, and he basically just said, well, I mean, they left me wide open. So, well, what do you expect? So huge stuff from Dante Exum. I mean, what have you seen from him specifically? Not just the hot shooting we saw tonight, but just overall with his game that's helped this team so much.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been a lot of the stuff that we talked about with him is that, when you have a 6'6" guard that has the size, like not just like 6'6" and thin, like he's got a great frame for being able to guard wings. That allows you to have the versatility to really apply pressure getting into the paint, regardless of who else is out on the floor. Like if you think about like the options they have on a night when Kyrie is out, they're able to play Seth Curry next to Luka and obviously Exum as well, and that just puts a lot of skill on the floor that the defense has to account for. And that's not something you really get from a lot of the similar type of players that you would be able to generate offense from, like the way that you got tonight. I think definitely the size brings even more on the offensive end of the floor, where he can really, get into the paint and redrive and things like that in ways that other players on this roster can't. Like you're not going to get like Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway, those types of guys to really like be like super poised late in the clock, or like retreat back out, pulling the play out and then getting back into the paint and making plays as a passer the way that Exum does. And I think that's an element that they really haven't had. And even when they had, like we talked about the, like, I guess, relative comparison to Spencer Dinwiddie in terms of like having the value of a creator that's that big next to Luka size wise. And, I think there's just a little bit more control and I guess you could say like passing talent with Exum. And with the shooting ability, Spencer Dinwiddie, to his credit, had a lot of like, efficient games, big like 3-point shooting nights. So we haven't quite seen, as you said, like 8 threes entering tonight from Exum
Yeah.
on the season. So it's not like this is something like from 3-point shooting respect that's happening often. But what I like is that he's really built on what he knows the team needs from him in Portland on Friday, which is crazy to think that was Friday. Like hearing him
Yeah.
make like 2 threes, like kind of like that pivotal late game 3 in the corner that Luka found him on. After the game, he was one of the post game guys doing media, and he said that he's turning down too many shots. He thought that it was encouraging, like that performance, and he needs to take more. Well, it's like it hasn't even been a week yet, and he's definitely taking more, and he's set a new career high. So I think it's like fascinating to kind of see someone like, even at 29, I'm pretty sure is his age right now, like still figuring things out on the fly with a new team coming back from the NBA and being like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I really need to lock in and take those threes, not turn them down. And I guess it worked out pretty good tonight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he has been on an absolute tear. And, I was looking at his game. Even in Memphis, he didn't shoot as good as he did tonight, obviously, from three, just 1 of 4, but he had 16 points in Memphis, had 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. All of the little things adding up like that. That seems to be, even if he's not, I mean, obviously he's not going to hit 7 threes every game, but all of the little stuff, the couple of steals, a block here and there, just playing good, solid defense overall. That stuff has stayed, consistent with him. And it's I saw somebody mention this on Twitter earlier or during the game, saying that, this is kind of what the Mavs front office has been looking for all along. Like with when they tried with Frank Ntilikina and they tried with Josh Richardson, going back even further. There's been a handful of guys they've tried to get to fill this exact role that Exum is filling now, and you're seeing the benefits of it. Like it's made the like, this is a thing where if it continues, it elevates the Mavs into, I don't really want to say full blown title contention, but there's certainly, you certainly have to take them more seriously than just a playoff contender. If that continues on for the rest of the season, especially as the Mavs roster gets healthier as the season progresses. So great stuff from Exum. It's a great story because, a guy who was drafted as high as he was and basically being humbled and having to leave the league and coming back and, having the performance he's had so far in his first season back since 2021 is pretty pretty fun to see. It's a pretty good story to keep following. And over his last 3 games, he's averaging 21.6 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. So he he is just killing it. And look, speaking of guys that have big frames for not being as tall as, or being 6'5", 6'6", whatever it is, Grant Williams was one of the guys that came back tonight. Look, if the Mavs hadn't gotten a couple of bodies back tonight in Grant Williams and Tim Hardaway Jr., this might be a completely different story. Luka might have gone out and gotten his, but if they didn't get the production they got from Tim Hardaway Jr. and Grant Williams, 2 guys that didn't play last night, this could be a much, much different feel to this post-game recap, because Grant Williams, he came back and, during the last 6 games before he missed 3 games in a row to a bone bruise in his knee. The 6 games before he missed, he was averaging 6.5 points. He shot 29.3% overall and 22.6% from the field. So he was in a major slump. Maybe the knee thing had something to do with it, and the Mavs were like, okay, well, we're going to pull the plug on this for a while until you get better. And then he comes back and scores 19 points while playing some pretty solid defense on LeBron at times, and went 7 of 9 overall and hit 5 of his 7 threes. So Grant Williams comes back. Was great to see him start hitting some shots again. What did you think about his comeback performance after missing 3 games?
Yeah, I think as you said, it could have been a very different story without him, because, with his frame, this is definitely the type of matchup that he's especially helpful for, where it's more like power players like LeBron being like much bigger than usually like almost any perimeter player that's going to guard him. Having someone that can like wall up and like kind of hold your ground and be physical with them and be a tone setter, I think definitely would have been missed, because you think about who else could have got minutes. If you have to turn to, I guess you could say Omax, but a rookie having to guard LeBron, that's definitely could be a different story with the way that turns out tonight. And then other guys like AJ Lawson, he's pretty thin overall as well. So like that would have been a challenging situation there. So I think you factor in all the times the ball found Grant Williams spacing the floor and he made the defense pay. That just adds up throughout the course of the game, and they needed every little bit of it too, because you have Grant Williams hitting threes, Tim Hardaway making a lot of plays, hitting threes, and then as we said, they left Exum open one pass away often to load up on Luka, and he made them pay. If one of those guys was off today, that it could have been a very different story as well from that one standpoint. So they needed everything that they had, and that's to be expected against one of the best teams in the West. So overall, it was just very encouraging to see Grant Williams come back and execute, because it definitely was like as you mentioned, it was a struggle for him before that that period where he started to miss games, and going forward he's going to be needed, especially with Dereck Jones having his injury. We don't know how long he'll be out for, and there's no practice tomorrow since it was a back-to-back, so we won't really know much more probably until before this upcoming game on Thursday against the Timberwolves. But that's another team where you need size in a power player, because Karl Towns, Rudy Gobert, those are the definition of power players, big front court. So great timing to get Grant Williams back for sure.
Well, we saw it in preseason. Mavs played 2 games against Timberwolves, and they struggled in both of those games against them. So now, obviously, the Dereck Lively we have now that we've been watching for the last several games is a different Dereck Lively than what the Timberwolves saw in preseason. That being said, Rudy Gobert is still a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Karl Anthony Towns is still really hard to guard, and the Mavs are, they have some injuries. So we'll see how it goes. The Timberwolves are playing some great basketball. They're the number 1 team in the West. The Mavs aren't too far behind them, though. 2.5 games in the standings. They're 3rd in the West. Tonight was kind of like a way too soon Western Conference first round playoff preview, because the Lakers are 6th and the Mavs are 3rd. So it's like, if the playoffs started today, tonight would have been a game 1. And man, I don't know if my my blood pressure could take a 7-game series of Mavs Lakers. It's too much fun every time they get together. There's big leads and then there's blown leads, and It ends up being way too close. So, but it's fun. It's fun. I'm not complaining. Another thing, Luka has kind of closed the gap on LeBron now. Before this season started, he was 7-4 against LeBron all time. He's now only down 7-6 after the 2 wins this season. So, Luka, he continues his MVP pace. He's the front runner for MVP right now, in my opinion. I feel like if the Mavs stay in that top 3, top 4 in the West for the duration of this season and the numbers he's putting up, shooting a career high from 3, his free throw percentage is up like 4 or 5 points from what it normally is. I think this is the year he's going to win MVP if he keeps this up, in my opinion. He's playing too good of basketball. I mean, if you had to pick right now your MVP for the season, who would you pick?
Yeah, I think I probably would pick Luka because I think we're now seeing like the epitome of value, especially beyond just like what he normally provides. Like Kyrie is out and he's, really gutting it out for, the Mavs. Like he's playing through, painful stuff, getting checked to the floor in Memphis, by David Roddy, finishing the game, leading them to a win. And, that if you think about it as well, I know Kyrie had an injury in the last Memphis matchup, but, Luka was out and they really struggled. And, Kyrie struggled in that game as well. And that was a loss by double figures. And then, very shortly after in upcoming games, now Luka is the solo star, if you will, available. He played through, an issue of his own, thrived and got the job done. And then on the second out of the back-to-back against the NBA in-season tournament champions, managed to lead a victory. And if you get a win against the in-season tournament champions, that's got to count for something, right?
Hey,
Extra MVP bulletin board material.
you see all these cherry picked stats after every single game, it seems like, with history being made and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, the Mavs, they're the first team to ever beat the in-season tournament champion. So maybe this is a good sign for what's to come the rest of the season. So, but look, it's a fun game all around. I mean, again, it was a pleasant surprise for me personally because, like I said, after that run the Lakers made at the end of the third quarter, heading into the fourth, and how the fourth quarter started, I thought, the Mavs had just kind of run out of gas, and it kind of felt like a scheduled loss at that point. So for them, like you said, to gut it out, Luka specifically and the other guys, it's a really pleasant surprise. And the Mavs, again, they're off to their best start in the Jason Kidd era. And, we'll see where it goes from here. It's going to be a tough game on Thursday against the Timberwolves, but, if they're shooting the ball like they did tonight against the Lakers, they'll have a very good chance to win that one too. So we will see how it goes. Grant, I appreciate you joining me. The rest of all of you out there listening, watching, I appreciate it as well. Be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Go over to Grant's channel, Grant Afseth on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button over there as well. And you can follow along with all of our Mavs conversations on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, at Dalton_Trigg and at Grant Afseth as well. Grant, again, I do appreciate you joining me tonight. Enjoy the day off tomorrow with no Mavs practice. And I'm sure even though, there's no practice or anything, you're going to have DallasBasketball.com flooded per usual. So
the content never stops.
It never stops. Sure. It's year round. It never stops. And, I honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a grind sometimes, but I do enjoy it. So,
For sure. And it's definitely going to be an interesting stretch coming up because, just looking beyond Timberwolves matchup on Thursday, a rematch against the Nuggets and, also the Trailblazers to a lesser extent on that road trip. It's going to be very interesting to see how, after we saw that NBA in-season tournament matchup earlier in the year, like at the almost very beginning of the year against the Nuggets, very curious to see how that one goes. Maybe we'll have to bet on the Tex over-unders because Luka and Jokic have been starting to get a lot of referee situations.
Jokic, especially Jokic. He's been getting thrown out of games. And I saw before
on Serbian Heritage tonight in Chicago, he got thrown out.
and then Draymond too. He had another dumb, like he hit Nurkic in the head and then acted like he was, oh, I didn't mean to do that, but it was clearly a punch in the head and he got suspended. He was just suspended for 5 games for doing something else stupid. Like I don't understand, but that's warranted. I don't know if the Jokic ejection was warranted tonight, but he's going through a little bit of a rough patch with that, so we'll see. But yeah, we'll definitely have to look at the over/under stuff really closely for that game.
For sure.
Well, y'all, we appreciate it. Y'all go have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Have a great rest of the week. I'm gonna try to come back on here either Thursday night or Friday morning. Worst case scenario, it might be Monday of next week because honestly, I did not expect the start of this week to be as busy as it has been with the day job stuff. So we'll see. I said I wasn't going to record tonight either, but then things happen, and I'm like, well, we kind of have to record tonight. So we appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a great one. We'll see you next time.